He's done it once. Can he do it again? Elazer goes up against Hydra in a must-win game to go through to the playoffs to play with the live audience here in Poland as we make our ways to Krakow for the playoffs this coming weekend. Joining me on the desk is In Control and Rotterdam. We do have a big game ahead of us here. He's already done it once, like I said, but can he really do it a second time? You think he can?
It's Krakow, right? But you're saying the V?
No. The way you say it in Polish is Krakow. Krakow.
But we're not Polish.
But I'm... See? See?
All right, well, if they
Krakow.
say so, it is. Then. Can Elazer do it again? Yes. Will he do it again? Most certainly not. He
well,
should
you're
get
just
out of
going...
his match. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I mean, the good news for all of you, though, is I'm predicting that he won't. So, I mean, I know.
28%.
Here we go.
Let's check in with the bracket, as we've already had a first place finisher from this group. Hydra, as Jeff said earlier before, is swimming upstream, and he is headed to go through in second place with his good old buddy, Pult, who he's met a couple of times this year in 2015 for the World Championship Series. But is he going to get stopped is the question now, Roddy.
Well, if he's not, then there is an interesting fact that it can't possibly be Pult against Hydra before the Grand Final. So we could technically have a rematch of the WCS Season 1 Grand Final, but that's very long ways off. Yeah, Hydra is an overwhelming favorite over here.
Absolutely. I mean, huge favorite here. Let's talk a little bit about the underdog, though, Elazer, who has now set up on stage. I mean, we can't say it in another way. This is a massive moment for the young lad. Like I said, he's done it once. He comes into this, and he has to play what it seems, Roddy. I mean, Hydra didn't play the best he could have played the other day.
No.
But Elazer now is going up against a much better in-shape Hydra.
Absolutely. Hydra looked so much better in that previous series, and I'm sure that Elazer knows that as well. And I wonder if it bothered him. Obviously, like, you want to advance in first place if you could. And I think there were moments of opportunity he could have against Paul. Like, it was not an unrealistic series. He took map number 2 in style, Bridgehead, and game 1 and game 3 were both relatively close, where a few things, if they would have gone a tiny bit better, if he sees that build coming of Paul in game 3, then maybe he throws up an extra spine as an extra queen, and maybe it's all good, and then he would have just advanced. It's something like that. It's really hard to shake that off, especially when you're still such a young player as Elazer.
And one thing that really makes me believe that he could do it is the fact that he has beaten Hydra already, and then he forced Pult to bring out the builds that he didn't want to use against Elazer. Remember that Pult was saving that for if he did run into Hydra to make sure he beat him, but Pult felt pressured, he felt worried, and had to use his secret strategy to beat Elazer, and that breeds confidence for the young boy.
That is definitely a compliment in favor of Elazer, but at the end of the day, it's still one of those, it hurts more than it actually gives me any pride or whatever, because if he would have scouted it, he could have pretty much won the series, and he could have won the group and just be in the quarterfinals already. It's going to be really hard, man. Like, if you look at Hydra in the previous series, he meant all business. Like, Violet is definitely not an easy opponent in CVC, but I never had a feeling for a second that Violet was going to win that series.
And one way you can look at it, though, especially the way that you're saying that, is that when Elazer went up against Hydra the first time, he didn't believe he could beat Hydra. But now he has done, and now he's going when it really matters, and there is that little bit of expectation from him. The pressure's on Elazer.
Yeah, and I liked how he handled the pressure, to be honest. Like, when we were interviewing him and after his fairly successful first day, he just seemed really carefree. He seemed like a funny young guy. He's got a bit of a presence on Twitter and stuff like that. I'm becoming a little bit of a fan of him. If there is a guy that's capable of beating Hydra, oftentimes it's that guy that you don't expect. And that's actually, in kind of a roundabout way, part of the reason why I think Hydra does have a much better chance this second time around is because all of a sudden Elazer, who used to be this, like, faceless white dude that you know, he was probably like, yeah, okay, get out of the way, kid. All of a sudden he's like, nope. The targets are on him. He's like, I know who you are. I know you're good enough to beat me, and I'm ready.
Hydra has suffered 4 losses this year. 3 seasons worth of games, only 4 losses. Elazer has given him 1 of them.
I know.
It's a remarkable record.
These stats are fantastic. 18-4 in a professional competition, that is so difficult to do, especially because most of the series are best of 3, and it's a little easier to lose a best of 3 than it is to lose a best of 5 or a best of 7. So it's extremely impressive to see the numbers that Hydra has put up over the last 4 or 5 months playing within the WCS region. And, well, he knows it. I'm sure he's feeling it a little bit. Like, even though you've had such a phenomenal year, by far in a way, for the people who don't watch that much StarCraft, this is by far in a way the best year that Hydra has ever had in StarCraft 2. Like, other years, not even remotely close. After that Season 2 or Season 1 second place, this was already the best year. And then he won Season 2, so it couldn't really get any better than that.
And in the round of 32, when he was with you and Choba and, and yourself, Jeff, and the others, he said that, to be honest, there wasn't really anybody that could beat him. The only one that could really do it was Pult, and he didn't even think Pult could do it inside. And he's already lost once versus Elazer, and it could happen again.
I hope it humbled him a little bit. That's kind of what I like about StarCraft so much, is you get these personalities, and certainly Pult and also Hydra, you hear so much of cockiness. They're just kind of like, yeah, no one's nearly as good. Like, and they're calling for the fence at round 32, you know. So it's nice to see young guys like Elazer step up and be like, yo, pay attention here, man. I'm here and ready to play. And there are other players that can beat these guys. I feel like we know that. And looking at this match, he's playing against one that already has.
Yeah, the best moment about that was that Pult got interviewed first. And Pult actually said, he's like, well, I think everyone knows that the only one that could beat me here is Hydra. And I think that Hydra also knows that the only one that could beat him am I. And then like 2 days later, we had Hydra in the studio. It's like, hey, Pult said he thinks the only player that can beat you this season is him. Do you feel the same way? He's like, nah, actually, no, I don't know why he would say that. Like, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. That happened once, man. Like, take it easy.
Yeah, and he has continued to perform it. We'll see if he performs now. We have the maps ready. The players are almost ready to begin this. The best of 3 is moments away. The 3 maps that we're going to be going to is Terraform, Bridgehead, and Coda. Bridgehead coming in again. Terraform and Coda we've seen a lot. But I don't think the maps are going to play too big of a deal here. We can note that each map is a 2-player map, and there isn't that random aspect of a 4-player map and guessing where your opponent is and if you are going to be aggressive or not.
I love that you bring that up, Sean, because both vetoes of Hydra are on those 4-player maps. Remove Cactus Valley, remove Iron Fortress, just get rid of it, while Elazer vetoed 2-player maps. I guess those are just maps that, even though in ZVZ they may not play out as weird as in the ZVP or in ZVT, it's more just that most of the time these guys veto these maps on ladder, so they don't really have a whole lot of mirror experience on it either, and that's why they just rather get rid of him. And obviously Hydra doesn't want to play on the 4-player maps, because like you said, there is a little bit of variance in those 4-player maps.
Elazer, as much as Hydra has shown himself, Elazer showed himself in Zerg vs Zerg as well. If you think back to the series they played last time on Bridgehead, Elazer did try something crazy in an unexpected way to close the series up 2-0. It didn't work, so he's shown a lot of himself already to Hydra 2 and exposed his weaknesses a little.
A little bit, but you know, sometimes those weaknesses can be strength too, because now in the back of Hydra's head is, this guy will do something crazy, as opposed to, which it's actually at this stage of the game we don't see nearly as often, but those Zergs that are like, I will hatch first all the time. We don't really get those guys anymore because of the meta of ZVZ right now. All
right, let's take a quick look at the predictions for this one, as the guys have selected who they think is going to be able to take this one and move through to the playoffs. And we have a 1 for an Elazer. Kalaris looking to catch up with Nathanius here.
Yeah, that was pretty much the strategy behind this.
Yeah, it looks like it, right?
He believes in it a tiny bit, but he also said he's like, I need to catch up to Nathanius, so I'm gonna go for it. And I mean, he has done it before, but this would be a massive upset. Like, if Elazer would take out Hydra here, that is not another upset we have in this tournament. That's one of the biggest upsets we've seen in years. That brings me back to Show vs. Live, for instance, at DreamHack years ago. You know, something we could still talk about. This is not just another upset. This is
where it's more on the line. Like beating him in the earlier stages, that's a big deal, not to take it away, but it's when, if you can eliminate someone like Hydra, it's like, okay, you did it. That's amazing.
It's a massive game for the young man now, and we'll see if he can live up to the hype here that everyone's expecting him to bring in the Polish crowd. Can he do it? It's just a best of 3. It's just a couple of maps, but obviously it's not that easy.
It's time to find out if our young Polish Zerg player can make the ultimate dream a reality.
Oh yeah, man. Taking Hydra out twice in one tournament, eliminating him, that would just be absolutely massive. I mean, it was such a story of Elazer throughout this tournament. It was so heartbreaking when he was, you know, knocked out at first in the round of 32, and then he's been given that Cinderella story, that chance to kind of get the second life. He's back here now. He's already showed us he can go toe-to-toe.
I gotta agree.
Now it's all on the line.
It would be literally the biggest upset in StarCraft this year if he was able to do it against this Korean Titan who's had so many top 2 performances in this year of StarCraft 2. Can he be stopped? He is the Blue Zerg in the Northwest. From Root Gaming, he's Hydra. He's wrecked face in WCS, Gfinity, DreamHacks everywhere. And this man stands in his way to going to the quarterfinals in the Southeast. The Red Zerg from Poland, he's Elazer.
So much crowd support here for Elazer, the hometown hero. And what impresses me the most is this guy's attitude from day one last season when he first got into Premier League. He showed up, everyone was kind of like, oh, you know, we've heard you've been getting pretty good. Do you think you could take a couple sets? And he was like, yeah, I'm going to make it through. Like, I'm going to beat Polt, I'm going to do this. And, you know, he didn't quite make it out of that group, but this season he came back with the exact same brash attitude, and he's showed us some amazing games. He was so close to beating Polt in the winners match of this group and coming out in first place. And he's already showed us with his vetoes. He's just going to get rid of the kind of wonky maps. He wants to play some straight up play here.
Yeah, it's really amazing when you consider that of all the players here, you know, that aren't those big champions that we've had, you know, like Polt, like Hydra, and, you know, even to an extent, you know, like we knew Lilbo was going to make it most likely out of his group. But Elazer is not the name that pops up for most players. You know, you look, it's like, okay, you know, Bunny maybe being eliminated very early on this season was a shocker. Be like, okay, we're going to see someone like Snoop, Lilbo, all those other big guys.
Yeah.
But, you know, Elazer's just been the shocker of this season.
He really has. I mean, we've had these players who've kind of launched into prominence last season, players like Lilbo, players like Gung Fu Banda, but Elazer is just such a quick, sudden rise into prominence. And looking at this, he's opening up so safe here. This is what just impresses me so much about him. Even in the last series, we saw Violet taking some risks with his openings. Elazer here is basically doing the I don't want to die opening. I just want to get to that mid game, playing very safe, as is Hydra on the other side of the map. The only divergence so far is Elazer dropping this much faster gas. Looks like he wants to probably get an early Zergling speed, get some map control, and start the dominance going in terms of putting the pressure onto Hydra.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask now, if he's going to go for this quick Zergling speed, which it looks like he will with the fast gas, do you think it behooves him more to go for the map control to take a third base, or does he want to try to get aggressive against Hydra?
I think Elazer has really great range as a player, so the two options is to rush the Mutalisks up behind that or to take the fast third base. And I've seen Elazer do both here. Previously, he did win the game against Hydra by taking the fast Mutalisk route on this exact map. So he might choose that one again. Looks like he wants to deny the scouting, keeping his Zerglings at home. He really wants to block Hydra's vision. Hydra trying to get through, but oh, very nice block with the Zerglings. Elazer denying the vision there. Keep in mind, both of these guys have the fast queen, so no one's been able to scout the other's gas timing just yet. And already Hydra has to feel a little bit of fear. He has to think, what does this mean that he wants to deny my scouting so much? Is he going to do some sort of all-in? So Hydra hiding his Zergling up at the third base, he's going to want to try to get some sort of information soon.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to note. Not being able to get the Zergling scout and these build orders giving them such fast queens, you can't really check the main base. And losing an Overlord this early on would hurt quite a bit as the queen starts to push him away, tries to slip that Zergling in. What is Hydra most concerned about when he does this sort of scouting, though? What is he looking for the most, and what is Elazer hoping to see with this Zergling?
Oh, well, actually, Hydra's gone for a delayed Zergling speed, even though he went for an almost gasless opening. But he just denied the scouting. So Elazer has no idea that that delayed Zergling speed's coming in, but he's seen 3 queens. He's seen a tumor at the front. So it looks like it's just rushing up to Roach, the same thing Hydra's shown us again and again. But behind this, Elazer is going to have a Zergling speed, and he could pump out a big wave of surprise Zerglings, shut down Elazer's third, maybe do huge damage a bit later on.
How about how fast this lair is coming in for Elazer? It's halfway done. The Roach Warren's only just starting for Hydra. Is this that fast Muta play? Is there anything that Hydra can do against this?
Oh, that's incredibly fast, and that's actually so damn early. He skipped the Baneling Nest completely. Hydra doesn't even know this is the case right now because that scouting was denied so much, and it looks like he's defaulting to just getting a Roach Warren and Evolution Chamber, but because he's keeping the Zergling speed, Hydra's banking a lot on doing a big wave of damage with Speedlings. He's starting those Speedlings up now, the Link speed's getting close, but because he stopped at such a low drone count, he needs to get damage done with that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting scenario. The Roach Warren's finishing up. There's a lot of Lings on the way for Hydra as his Zergling speed completes, and that Spire is starting up. So for Elazer, the biggest focus has to be just surviving until he gets Mutas, right?
Oh, absolutely. Elazer, as long as he doesn't see a third base, all he's worried about is surviving. But now the Link speed has kicked in for Hydra, and he's going to push across this map. Elazer caught without many Zerglings out.
Yeah, this is actually really tricky. There's not the Spinecrawler done yet, and the Zergling count is simply favoring Hydra at this point. He's forced to retreat. The Queens are going to try to help do this. He's cutting off a bit of the surface area by choking up between these buildings, and the first Queen getting very close to being knocked down. He does manage to pick it off. I guess at this point, though, it's more about the time that he needs to get the Spinecrawler up against the Roaches, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful defense. He didn't even pull drones off the mineral line. Look at this. Hydra's trying to deny the rocks. He doesn't even seem to realize there's Mutalisks on the way. Elazer's actually going for the rocks now himself. Both players want to knock the rocks down. They're fighting for the right to bring them down.
I guess what Elazer wants to do is just cut this point off, because if he breaks these rocks down, then the Roaches can't go straight to his base. This buys him so much more time to get those Mutalisks out.
I don't know why Hydra was knocking on those rocks. You're absolutely right, Nate. Every second that goes by, these Mutalisks are getting closer and closer. There's only one Spinecrawler, so this is very much banked up on those Mutalisks holding on. But it's looking fantastic for Elazer. Hydra's on a timer. Sure, he's got a third base behind this, but he's barely got 2 mineral lines saturated. He's got no tech at home. He needs to do crippling damage right now, but Elazer pumping out Zerglings and Mutas is looking to stand strong.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the Mutas are just about to finish up as these Zerglings descend upon the natural expansion. Spinecrawler still going to work. Oh, 9 drone lead for Elazer. Can he defend with his Mutalisks? There's so many Roaches here. Pig getting on top of the drones, picking off the first Queen in the back of the mineral line, and forced to run those drones away.
Oh, the Roaches getting in, the Speedlings flooding in, looking like they're trying to do critical damage here. Elazer did not have the information to realize this was coming, and he is taking a lot of damage right now. Those Mutas are not cleaning this up very quickly. He needs to keep these drones alive, but the critical damage is happening.
Yeah, even though he got the Mutalisks out as the push hit, it was just a little bit too fast for Elazer to handle. 11 drones fall. He's not mining at all right now, just finally able to put those drones back on the mineral line. But this 10-worker deficit, what can these Mutas hope to accomplish, Pig?
This is a really odd situation, because keep in mind, we said Hydra needed to do a lot of damage there. At the end of the day, he did only kill 11 drones, and with 11 Mutalisks out, this is absolute air dominance. Hydra's having to dump a huge amount of resources into Spore Crawlers, while Elazer, with these Mutas, he has air dominance right now. He can come in, he can find weak points, and slow down all of these drones saturating this third base.
I do really like this, getting on top of that third, getting a bit of worker damage. And we can see from Elazer's perspective, he's just focusing on his micro here, saturating those gases, and trying to snowball off the position he's in, still adding in a Mutalisk here and there too.
And he's going to kill the third base. This is a huge pickup. There's a lot of transfuse there. Oh, Hydra dropping the last-minute transfuses. If he can save that, that's massive. Oh, and counter-attacking at the same time.
Yeah, Elazer blindsided by the counterattack. He does kill that third base, as you mentioned, but there is nothing at home to defend against these Zerglings, which could pick off even more drones.
Oh, that's massive damage for Elazer. Oh, you know, losing so many units there. He killed the third base, but taking so many drone losses behind this, he was being a little bit too ambitious, trying to get that damage done while droning at home.
The next Queen gets killed too, so no injects, period, for Elazer, really slowing down his production as well.
Oh, this is getting very tricky. 10 Mutalisks are still out on the map. I mean, they provide a lot of air coverage, but there's no third base in sight for Elazer. He's down to 33 drones. He's rebuilding his first 2 Queens. That last wave of damage from Hydra, that was absolutely critical. Elazer, though, he's a very aggressive player. He's going to look to get back across the map, and he's going to try to disrupt Hydra. This is his focus right now.
Yeah, but that creep tumor placed by those Queens allows this Spore Crawler to hold this position, and, you know, Spore Crawler is just so powerful against Mutalisks as anti-air. What are really his options? Hydra's just going to go for a Nidus for him. He's like, I'm just going to worry. Only going to build Queens, Roaches, and Zerglings.
Well, Elazer, being the audacious guy that he is, he's just going to go and find the hole. Ignoring the threat of a counterattack, his Mutas are going to try and get critical damage done. He hasn't spotted the Nidus Worm yet, but he sees it now. He sees the Nidus Worm going up at the natural, and that has to put fear into his heart, because there are so many Queens out. He cannot fight these with the Mutas, but they're picking off a lot of Overlords, getting some great damage done.
Yeah, still Ling counterattacks happening during all of this. A supply block really important, actually, to prevent him from building enough units to fill that Nidus network with, and he does eventually end up cleaning up back home, but there we go. The Nidus is outside of the natural. With so many Queens on the map for Hydra, 11 Queens versus 11 Mutalisks. Can the Mutas actually stop this for Elazer?
There is no way they can fight that many Queens. There will be just too many transfuses, and the Nidus Worm pops uncontested. The Zerglings on the north side distracting Elazer's army. They are so far out of position. No spine crawlers here. I mean, the Queens are going to take a little bit to get over there.
That's a lot of Queens.
What can you possibly do? He's trying to throw down spine crawlers behind his natural, but this Mutalisk count cannot contest that.
Queens move slowly. They don't move that slowly, and the transfuses are going to help so much against these Mutalisks. Elazer, to be asking yourself, how do I stop this many Queens, especially now the Roaches are coming in, and he's on top of the third base. He's everywhere.
Oh, Hydra playing this in such a beautiful fashion, giving Elazer no time to recover. Wave after wave of aggression, and it's always getting there just before Elazer's ready.
That's the Nidus network. One more Nidus Worm popped up in the natural there as Hydra takes game number 1 in this best of 3 in a very decisive manner.
What a clean win for him. That looked a little bit dicey at some points when Elazer was going to get those mutas out, but he didn't quite respect the strength of that attack from Hydra. And Hydra's experience showing he just found that crisp, slight timing window, got in there, and managed to disrupt Elazer and rip his build apart.
Yeah, really nice use of the counterattacks of the Zerglings when those mutas hit his base, but a solid start here for Hydra in this best of 3. And we're going to go to a short break as we get ready to go into game number 2, guys. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the World Championship Series Premier League round of 16. We're here in the decider match for Group C as Hydra takes on Elazer, Pig.
What a intense first match we saw. Elazer, a huge underdog here. He's already upset Hydra once in this tournament. Can he bring it back in Game 2 to equalize and have a shot at doing it again?
It's going to be real tough. He's down 0-1 in this best of 3. Tournament life on the line against this man on the east side of Bridgehead. We have Root Gaming's Hydra.
Looking focused as ever. Hydra has that next championship in his sights.
And just playing so well this year, and this man upset him once. He needs to win 2 maps in a row to stay alive. The Red Zerg from Poland, he's Elazer.
Such a strong player, bringing that confidence here in that last game. Really liked the way he played that out, just not quite being able to handle the intensity of Hydra's aggression. I mean, Hydra went all out there. He did not have a lot of a backup plan if that attack didn't go well.
Yeah, it's really crazy. He commits so much to that Roach Ling push, and you know, at some point or another, it comes down to like how much can you really afford to invest in a static defense. But I really liked Hydra just being active out on the map, because once those mutas came in, and you did a great job of pointing this out that he was going to be able to get the third base, he just did that little bit of a backstab because
Oh,
he had to
yeah.
commit all his mutas. He didn't have anything at home to defend, and that's just, you know, that's why Hydra's so good.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe if Elazer commits to some more Zerglings there to kind of cover his defense at the same time, things turn out differently. But Hydra's intensity and his just killer instincts there, finding the holes he needed. Here, going into Bridgehead, looks like both players are going to be opening up with that hatchery first build here. Looks like they're not too worried about the all-ins. Once again, Hydra, though, saving up his lava until he sees the second Overlord. And because Elazer actually dodged it with his first Overlord, so Hydra didn't manage to see it, and as a result, he's actually going to be going for that 14 spawning pool before starting drones, just being a little bit safer there.
So what exactly about not seeing that Overlord tells Hydra that he might need to play a little more safely?
So basically, that Overlord timing tells you that at 9 supply, your opponent's built an Overlord, which means there's no early spawning pool, and what these guys are worried about on this map is something like that 10 pool Baneling rush, where the opponent just goes completely all in as fast as possible. You see that Overlord, you know you can rule out that option, and because Hydra showed the second Overlord, Elazer just felt very comfortable, whilst Elazer did the little tricky adjustment, avoided the vision with his second Overlord, and that has actually given him a slight edge in this game.
Cool. I was not actually aware of that. That's a very interesting play made by Elazer to try to keep Hydra on his toes just a bit. And as we progress through this game, it looks like both players have opened up with gas. Not crazy fast, but lining up reasonably well with their expansions. What about Bridgehead is going to have the biggest impact, in your opinion, for Zerg versus Zerg?
Oh, well, we've talked about it a lot before, how the back rocks open up a second attack avenue, and this is something which is very new to StarCraft 2 in this current map pool. Only here on Bridgehead and on Moonlight Madness, a map we don't see very often, is it possible, and that means there's a lot of mid-game roach wars. Normally, doing tunneling claw roach aggression can be a bit hard because your opponent can lock down 1 or 2 attack avenues, defend very well, but here on Bridgehead, your bases are so spread out, you've got this attack avenue in the back path, and we saw in his earlier series against Violet, Hydra just went straight for tunneling claws, straight for burrow, because he wants to get on the map and attack you from every side in that mid game, and that is where he really thrives as a player in Zerg vs. Zerg.
All right, we'll really have to be careful about those back rocks, making sure you do not get slapped in the face by those. We have Zergling speed coming in for Elazer, a Baneling nest this game as well, but Hydra not really doing too much with this gas. Why might this be?
Hydra doing the exact same thing he did against Violet, where he mines the gas to make it look like he's going to get a Zergling speed. This puts the threat in Elazer's mind, but he's actually not going to do anything with it. He's just going to wait, and he's going to go straight up to Lair and Roaches, very much like a gasless opening, but with a little added trickery in there. Elazer coming in, he wants to scout this, but Hydra starts the Zergling speed on the pool, so that Elazer sees that, and he's going to cancel that as soon as this Zergling dies. A very good piece of misinformation from Hydra. And what this has forced out of Elazer is it's forced a Baneling nest, which he's going to have absolutely no use for. We see the Ling speed gets cancelled, the Roach Warren and Lair start up. A great tricky mind game from Hydra.
Yeah, so able to just save a couple of pennies here, a couple of pennies there, and invest them into his mid-game tech. With both Lairs coming up, how much of an advantage can Hydra get from that? What is he looking to do based on these player styles and what you've seen from them so far? Is one of them going to be more aggressive than the other with their roaches in the mid-game?
Absolutely. It looks like Hydra is going to be very focused on roach tech, and interestingly, Elazer looking like he really enjoys the playstyle he tried for last game. He's rushing up his lair, he's going to 4 gases, he wants to head towards Mutalisks. And this is one of the most interesting styles because you see the Mutalisks, they've got this whole mobility factor, but roaches are so beefy that they actually need to get over there and start wailing on the roaches well before they get to your base. So Elazer here opening up with a little bit less minerals, teching a little bit harder, but his goal now is to delay this third base. These Zerglings want to slow that down, and if they can delay it long enough, when the mutas come out, there's no spore crawlers, there's not enough creep spread, and look at this great run by from Elazer.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You want to delay the third base, prevent the anti-air, but at the same time, be aware of any big roach pushes, because that was what really cemented the last game for Hydra. If he made his push 30 seconds later, and the mutas are already out, and they get to work on the roaches before they arrive at his base, it could be a completely different game.
Absolutely, and these Lings just staying in here for so long, this is so great for Elazer because it gives him peace of mind. He sees no Nidus network, he sees that Hydra's only on 3 gas, which means he can only really mass roaches, he can't go for anything else. And Elazer, even keeping the Lings alive, he can see what's popping out of these hatcheries and even trying to morph some Banelings in there, just trying to be a little bit tricky. This is so great for Elazer.
And we can see in Elazer's vision as he's starting to look around, we get a first-person perspective of him scouting, trying to push back the Overseer and just deny scouting overall. His Spire is very close to finishing, but so is Roach Speed and +1 attack, and Well, that roach count is just slowly but surely climbing up, Pig.
And Hydra's Overseer still has not realized that it's Spire Tech. It's coming back in for another scout on the north side. We can actually see it on the Elazer's mini-map. And Hydra's only just finding out that this is the case right now.
Yeah, now Elazer knows 100% that Hydra knows what's up. There are some links on the map, so we can see Elazer's trying to go for this backstab on the third base. Most of the roaches are out on the map, so maybe he has an opportunity here. I love this. You can see him individually clicking to try to focus down those drones, too, when they were near the hatchery.
Oh, meanwhile, Hydra really committing this roach push, but if he loses this hatchery, that's great, but he actually keeps it alive. Elazer not getting that pickup and committing a lot of Zerglings to it. Now his third base is very exposed. We can see these roaches coming in. They're going to be able to snipe that, but it will buy a bit of time for Elazer's mutas to pop, and once they get out, they will be able to shut those roaches down.
Yeah, we have 9 Mutalisks finishing very shortly. There is one Spine Crawler inside of the main base. He's just going to run by, actually just crushes the Spine, steps forward, kills the Queen, and now these Mutalisks are doing everything they can to kill these roaches off, but they're fast. They have a lot of hit points, and they're just very annoying, very difficult to deal with, but he sustained substantially less losses compared to the last map, Pig. He's cleaned up all the roaches in his base. He has the mutas out, and this third base, it's still standing, though.
Oh, very good defense here by Hydra to deal with the Ling counterattacks while pulling him back with the roaches. Elazer, though, in the midst of that, had the presence of mind to drop his third base, but we can see the big advantage here for Hydra is in that drone count. He's got a 52 workers against the 44, and once again, he's going to go very aggressive with the follow-up.
Yeah, that Nidus network, we're seeing a lot of that pressure coming out, and I really like this. We don't get to see it enough, in my opinion, Pig. He has an Overlord in the bottom left corner of the map, so he should be able to throw that network up, despite the fact that there are Mutalisks, which means he won't have that vision denied, and these mutas are going to come out here. There's a lot of roaches, so he's preventing the mutas from being able to harass because, well, he's got to deal with these roaches.
Oh, these roaches, they want to spot a good position for the Nidus, and they want to distract while the Nidus goes down. There is an Overlord in the bottom left-hand side of the map, and that's where it goes. Elazer has no idea this is coming. However, on Elazer's side, he is knocking down the rocks, and he's already starting roach production. There aren't as many queens this time, and there are 14 Mutalisks. Elazer, on a very low drone count, may be able to defend his main base, and hearing that scream, now he realizes what's happening. Elazer is in panic mode. He needs to get out as many roaches as possible, and he needs to hold on at his main base.
Yeah, this could be scary, very frightening moment right now as Hydra steps down towards Elazer's third base. Elazer's mutas can actually come up and cut the Nidus worm off so that you can't reinforce this position, as if another queen does pop out with some more roaches, so another Nidus worm will need to be started. That's 20-second delay.
Killing a couple of the queens. Elazer picking off 2 of them apart from the rest. There's only 7 queens left there, and with 14 mutas in the air, that could get a bit frightening if he can focus the queens with the roaches and the mutas at the same time.
Ling counterattack gets into the natural of Hydra, so a lot of motion being created here. Snipes the next Nidus network, not able to help reinforce this position, but the queens still have a lot of energy to reinforce each other with. There are 11 Mutalisks left on the map. The queen count is falling. Only 6 remain right now, but that next Nidus, it should be able to finish for Hydra.
Oh, the muta count is getting whittled down. Most of the queens are dead, but so are most of the Mutalisks. Because the roaches weren't able to join the fight, it's so hard, and Hydra has such a huge roach advantage here. His numbers are out of control. I mean, his economy is being destroyed by the Lings behind this, but the roaches not being able to focus fire these queens. Elazer is being targeted down. Most of his Mutalisks are dead, and his roaches are dying as well.
GG Hydra will advance on to the quarterfinals and eliminates Elazer 2-0 here in the World Championship Series. And we've seen a little bit more of that championship tier Hydra coming out in this best of 3.
Just so efficient from the beginning with the tricky fake gas opening. That was such a good play from Hydra. He took that mineral advantage, transformed it into a fast roach push, and he just got enough damage done, kept Elazer back, secured the third base, and then Elazer was just so worried trying to get back and put pressure over, he never had time to clear up the vision on his side of the map. The Nidus Worm just launched in there in that corner, and when you're surprised by a Nidus Worm with Mutalisks, you can't do a lot.
Yeah, I really like that he just tucked that Overlord in the very corner. You know, the Mutalisks are obviously going to go everywhere his own Overlords can see, but having that little spot to throw up the Nidus Worm really just sealed the deal, because it's obviously hard to get on the map with just queens. They're so slow, but Hydra just meticulous. And now we're going to get to hear from him over at the analyst desk with the boys.
Thank you very much, Nathanius. Thank you very much. Hello there, champ.
Hello.
Hello. Before we talk about this series, I want to go back to the very first series that you played against Elazer, and I was sitting with Violet in the audience a little bit, and he said that you weren't too happy with yourself the first time you played against Elazer. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I had no information about Elazer, so I just went safety build, but it didn't work out. So, and yeah, he played well yesterday, and my condition was really bad yesterday as well. So.
Were you just tired? I mean, what was wrong with your condition yesterday? Not feeling good to play, or?
Oh, just jet lag.
Jet lag?
This time jet lag is like strongest jet lag I've ever had.
Really?
And yeah, the game condition was not good as well because the desk is keep shaking when I play game.
Yeah.
And I could hear the casting a little bit.
Yeah.
In player area. So all problems are so just bad for me, and just that's why I beat all 4 people map, because my opponent could hear the sound. So yeah.
Okay, so you felt better today then, going up against Elazer? I mean, you played against Violet too, and you looked really good. Much better performances from you today. Did you feel like that also?
Yeah, I think I just left a lot of time yesterday, so that worked out.
All right, in control, some questions about the games today from Hydra?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about your condition being kind of poor, but also, you know, you were one of the guys that gave some pretty bold answers. You thought that nobody could beat you in this season. Do you feel like that opinion's changed a little bit? There's maybe some better players here, or was that a mistake? That was a fluke?
I don't think yesterday is my games. Like, I wasn't mad yesterday. So, yeah, I still have confidence that I'm going to win this tournament.
Good. Yeah.
Well, what do you think about the players that you could run into in the playoffs now? You've come through in second place. You've got Petraeus, you've got Zanster, and you've got Lilbo. The 3 other first place finishers. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really care, but I think Lilbo is the strongest player in there. So, yeah, I don't care.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, Hydra. We'll see you on the weekend. You get to play in Krakow, and we hope that you can do well as you have done in the last 2 seasons. So congratulations, Hydra.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick look at the bracket then and check in with that, as we have now wrapped up and finished Group C, leaving us with 1 group left. We'll go into that very shortly. The 2 champions have gone through. First and second place may not be the way we thought this bracket would play out, but that's the way it has done. Pult first place, Hydra comes in second. A fast group, very fast group. Rodagem joins us back on the desk within control. This group played out very fast today, Roddy. Lots of cool, fast and furious versus Zergs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hydra was all business today, and I think that last series in particular, we've had a lot of great series today. We were watching the games backstage, even when we're not off camera. It's like, man, that game is epic, that game is epic. This was a pretty straightforward series. It just felt like Hydra was in control and just did what he had to do.
Both series today, really. Him against Violet, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was the group returning to normalcy, I would say. It got disrupted by Elazer, and that's awesome, and I think he should hold on to that. Let's remember, he's only 17 years old, so to make it into the round of 16, kinda, but then to take a first round against one of the absolute best players is a really cool result for him, and I'm excited for 2016.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to go to our very quick break, and when we come back, Jaedong plays up against Aigers as they fight for advancement in Group D.